Okay. So good evening, everyone. To all the participants joining on the Zoom session, as well as the people on LinkedIn Live. And welcome to today's session on leaders as a coach. In this fast-changing world of work, leadership is no longer just about directing. It's about inspiring, empowering, and enabling people to realize their full potential. A leader who can effectively build stronger teams, foster innovation and drives sustained performances. Right. So today's session will equip you with the practical tools, mindsets, and strategies to step into this role with confidence. So I welcome Ms. Manpreet for today's session. She has been so this is the second session with her, and we have got a lot of um, uh, love from the previous session, the people who attended, and great feedback. So over to you, Manpreet. We can get started with the session.
Thank you, Patel. Thank you for giving me this validation. And I quite liked how you have introduced this concept of leadership as a coach. So thank you. So people who are listening to me, I welcome you all to this session. This is quite an important one because these days organizations and corporates, though they help people who are working in as a individual contributors or silos, they help them in developing those skill sets for leader, as being a leader or being a manager. But from last few years, I have seen the pattern has been changed where the organizations are now quite interested or curious to know that how leaders can be a coach to their team members. So today we'll be working on that particular skill set that it's not a conventional leadership, but how a leader can behave like a coach to people or to their team members or to their resources, and how it is different from a conventional leadership. So that is what we learn if I'll put the session objective for next few minutes to an hour, will be since we have a restricted timeline, but then we'll try and cover that how a person who's already at a leading position or who is aspiring to be a leader can understand that how it is not just about instructions as a leader, but it is more about empowerment, why empowerment is an important aspect of being a coach and how it can be done. There are a few frameworks which we'll discuss today related to coaching and related to empowerment as a leader, related to there is something very renowned one is GROW model, which is an acronym. So we'll talk about that. And then, of course, as a leader, how when you are in discussions with your team members, and at times there could be a moment when you are partially agreeing and not agreeing to each other. At that time, there's an approach of that how you can have a constructive discussion with your team member as a coach, how you can put your powerful questions in front of them, and it shouldn't look like that you are intimidating them, rather you are in support to them and you are strengthening their skill sets, and how you can understand that constructive feedback or probably give the constructive feedback to them, or you can try and discuss having a constructive, like in a constructive discussion format. So we'll talk about that too. So these are the core areas we'll be discussing, and as a trainer, it's my responsibility to share things, these session objectives with you. And hence, let's start with the first let's try and understand with the first question, which I thought I should be coming up with, is that how, when we talk about in your experience, if anybody has joined with me on Zoom, if they can type it, they can tell me in the chat that how do you think a coach is different from just a leader? If you are there present on live streaming, I know the chat is not possible. So, but still, I would want you to be on a listening mode, and hence we can discuss on this. Uh, so when we talk about being a coach as a leader, uh, let me put you into a situation, and then I'll help you. Let's say one of your team members who is you have this person has been hired by your recruitment team and doing good and knowledge wise and as per whatever the domain skill set is required for that specific project. If this person is closely working with you as in that project, and you have seen that this person is doing very well from last few days since the time they have joined, but at the same time you realize that there is a specific maybe a skill set they are not quite proficient with when it comes to knowledge. They are good, but when it comes to imparting that knowledge in front of the customers, because the role also demands customer facing intervention, and then you realize that after attending meetings with them where the customer was there, client was there, stakeholders were there, and you were there, and this person may not be quite confident while they share their knowledge. Now, how do you deal with that individual? One way is as a leader, of course, what we say is that we need to support that person. We cannot be authoritative, that, or probably we cannot say that, why don't you know this? And that's not what we endorse, or that's not what we encourage. As a leader, there are certain qualities or attributes what we say is we own, because we try and understand everything from their perspective. We try and understand that why this person is not able to speak in front of the customer or stakeholder. Maybe the exposure is not there, or maybe they have not been given such tasks in their previous organization, or maybe they are always been into operational work and sitting in front of the system and doing their development work. As a leader, there is something called the attribute. What we follow is we tell them. So there is something called TSD, which is a known one. But then if somebody is not aware, so I have put this acronym, which you see the TSD, where T stands for tell, S signifies show, and do means doing together. So as a leader, your responsibility is that you tell the person, you go and tell the person that, when we face the customer, we have to share, or we have to go prepared with our presentation or with our report, or if they need some review for our project, we need to share these things in detail. And for that, we need to go prepared. So, which means as a leader, you're giving them download at what to do, how to do. And then at times you believe as a leader that, okay, since this person is not been having experience in these kind of situations, not being exposed to facing the client in earlier roles, so you try to tell them as a leader that, okay, come along with me in certain meetings, and I'll take a responsibility. I'll show to you that how to do it, and you ask them to shadow you, because that's a great attribute or a great quality for being a leader, that you ask them to shadow you, right? And then again, how you want that this person should feel confident in giving presentations in future, or probably in talking to clients or stakeholders or customers. So D stands for do. When you ask them that, okay, next meeting, probably 60% I'll do it on your behalf, and 40% you have to prepare. And maybe it's a 20 minutes presentation. So in 20 minutes, 15 minutes I'll take it up, or maybe 10 minutes I'll take it up, and 10 minutes you'll take it up. So you do it in together, in coherence, in collaboration. And that's what a leader does, because you do not want them to feel intimidated. You do not want them to feel embarrassed. Rather, you help them, you support them. But that's what we learned as a leader. And this is one of the primary leadership qualities that we follow, TSD, somebody we are dealing with who's not very equipped with any specific domain skill set. But then if I say that if somebody has to behave like a coach to that person, to a team member, somebody has to behave like that, okay, along with being a leader, how you can be a coach? I can see people joining here also. I can see a few names, Narendra, Surya, if you can help me, or if you have the access to unmute, or you have the access to put it in the chat, I would really appreciate that if you can put your responses on this, that if this person has to behave like a coach, what different he or she will do to a team member. Okay. So yeah, I guess as a coach, when we talk about it, it's not just about imparting knowledge, or not just showing them or asking them to shadow, or not giving that 50%, 50%, or 60, 40%. It's more or less empowering them with that skill. And that's what I have come prepared with. If you see the slide now, there is something called, if you see the top on the headline, I said, I've written, however, leader as a coach empowers. So this person empowers their team member. And if you see the bullet points, I have written 5S and 1O. If you connect the dots, 5S and 1O, where the basic difference is that when you are sharing your knowledge or when you're imparting a knowledge to them that this is what we're supposed to do, this is when the client, we are facing the client, when we are trying to give them a presentation, the first S here stands for that speak. You are speaking, but you will encourage them to also speak in that discussion which you will be having with them, because that's also a responsibility of a leader as a coach that um, when I see, when I observe something is probably not very okay with my team member, or probably I want them to upgrade themselves, I want them to evolve in the process. So I sit with them, or I do a one-on-one discussion with them, or I do a constructive discussion with them. And as a coach, not just to tell them what to do, but rather I would encourage them to speak. I would ask questions, and I would ask powerful questions, which we will discuss in next few slides. But I will keep in mind as a lead, like as a leader, as a coach, that it's not only me who will be speaking, but I will give them the opportunity to speak also in that one-on-one discussion. Just one point I would like to discuss here is that never do these kind of discussions where you have to tell them that what you probably want them to do or how you want them to evolve. Never do it in front of other three or four people or in front of other team members. Always do it this in one-on-one, where the first S stands for that you encourage them to speak. The second is where you and ask them certain questions where the relationship should feel that okay, they should feel that you are approachable to them, that they shouldn't feel shy, they shouldn't feel that okay, why this leader is putting me in on a spotlight, and or this coach as a spotlight. So you try to bring that, enable that relationship. And I would like to here share one thing that when we talk about enablement, when we talk about second S here, stronger relationship, it's not just that you sit with them and you start telling them that I don't like this about you, I don't like this. The first thing always is you try to break the ice with them. Whether you talk about some very generic topic which does not create any conflict, which does not have any debatable points, like maybe we do not discuss anything like politics or anything like, or maybe religion, region, minority. We try to break the ice with very generic topics like maybe weather, climate, their hobbies, or anything, maybe their interest, so that that puts them into a calm state. And that will give you a chance to enable that relationship. And at that time, they will feel that, okay, somebody who I'm dealing with, somebody who I report to, this person is not just a leader, but that person also takes care of me. They should feel that you are maybe giving, not giving them instructions, but your third essay says that you're helping them to discover their own solution. So I will take this in very detail, of course, but this is just for the slide. I'm giving you a bit of a better understanding, like just to introduce you with this concept of 5S, where then support comes, then the strength comes, where you try to not to put like your all the focus on their weaknesses, but you rather tell them and appreciate them about their strengths. That okay, I quite appreciate how knowledgeable you are. I quite appreciate how you write emails. I quite appreciate how you deal with your team members and how polite you are. And so after ice breaking, you try to put those strengthening points with them so that they feel that okay, they are good enough for these kind of projects they're handling. And then you bring the topic in a very subtle way that, okay, what skill sets I would expect as a coach that you should enhance or evolve in. And then you quote an incident that, 3 days ago when we were sitting in front of our stakeholder and there was a meeting and we had to discuss a review report with them. So I would expect that I would really want that if in case you can come more better, your preparation would be better so that once you're prepared, you can be confident while you are standing in front of a stakeholder while giving a presentation. So you give your viewpoint. Before giving your viewpoint, before coming to where you want them to evolve, enhance their skill sets, you build up that relationship with giving them those chances to speak, enablement, support, strengthen, and encourage them to, okay, then maybe in a subtle way you already have included the TSD method where you are trying to tell them that, okay, take the ownership or responsibility, and after few meetings, before I will go to customer meeting or before directly we go to stakeholder, I would want you to take up some internal discussion meetings where I would want you to be confident in giving presentations. So this is how you behave like a coach. This is what the basic difference is, not just as PSD, but you follow a complete 5SO approach. That's how you do it. And to give you, and I would expect if any of you is there in the session listening to me and watching, looking into the slide, take a screenshot of it so that it becomes handy for you once we are over with this session. At least you would have something as a screenshot. And once you go next dealing with your own individual team member, as a coach, remember that 5SO is imperative, it's suggested. And then coming to one more scenario, which I've prepared for you all is where, let's say, if you lead a team of five, so, and one of your star performance has suddenly started missing deadlines. You know, there are times when you deal with people, you have, you're not biased, but you know that, okay, somebody you are working very closely, they are, all of them are star performance, but all of a sudden you realize that one person has started missing deadlines all of a sudden, and you are tempted as a leader. Maybe we are very inclined to, just because we know this person from so many years, and we are inclined to just go and tell them, or have a, or even if we are working from a hybrid mode and we call them or we schedule a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting and we tell them that, this is what is bothering me, that you are missing deadlines. But then you know that this person has been doing good from last so many years, or you have been a part of multiple projects together. So your approach should be, as a coach, is that you have a choice, A, B, C. The A is tell them exactly what they have to do to not to miss the deadlines. Give them a complete KT, knowledge transfer. Like, okay, step by step, this is what you have to do, and you will be out. That is one. Second is that ask them questions to understand what's going on, understand their perspective, what is, why they are not able to pace up these days, why they are able to, I mean, why their deadlines are getting jeopardized. So you're trying to ask a question. And then the third is, I have known people in the industry, they don't choose A, they don't. And here we are completely non-biased and we are completely non-judgmental. But this is what they think is that next time onwards, they stop giving their task to this particular performer, but to the other one. So they start delegating it, because as a person, they want that my task should be completed within timeline. It shouldn't hamper, it shouldn't become a barrier or a roadblock for my project, or the client I have to face, or the stakeholders would be aggressive if I don't give them things on time. And then instead of giving the whole task to this particular person, we start delegating to other people and let that person take off. Now, choice is yours. See, I'm not saying that anything is right or anything is wrong. It's just that you need to think twice that how you are at this point in time playing, what role you are playing. Are you playing a role of somebody who's just one of the team players, and you, or probably somebody who is in favor of getting into that, okay, project should not hamper, and stakeholders shouldn't feel aggressive, or they shouldn't be rude and I have to face them? Or you are somebody who is like, okay, let me give this person download one by one, let me have a tutorial with them, sit after a shift hours, or come in the morning and then sit with them, and then the work is done. Or you are somebody who, as a coach, when I talked about empowerment, now we'll discuss in detail, but uh, I have discussed about the E, that you tell them exactly what to do and you quick fix the thing. Then you might save time, that, okay, let me give them the download, quick fix. But in this case, you might miss them strengthening their skill sets and sharpening their opportunities. I have people working with me very closely. I've been into the industry as in 18 years, and every day and day in day out, I take these kind of leadership sessions. But globally also, I have known people across industry where they come back to me and they tell me that, Manpreet, we have had a chance working with brilliant leaders and coaches. When they know that probably this is our sixth year in the industry or eighth year in the industry, and they know that probably we don't have that kind of exposure, and they sit with us, they spend quality, they invest time with us, and they help us sharpen our skill sets. So this is what a quality of as a leader, as a coach, when they behave. And it's about asking powerful questions. Again, coming back to 5SO, the B part is when you guide them. That's where you fit the 5SO, where speak and strong relationship. I've already given example, and then you help them discover their own solutions. So when I say to help them discover their solutions, how you have to do this is that you tell them, you give them download, you tell them your opinion that this is what I would think you can do. Possibly go and practice. If you want my intervention, I can help you coming probably every week on any of one of the days you select, and we can sit together and I can take demo reviews from you, or let's do this internal team meeting first. And you give them that one solution. And then you give them the chance that, okay, I have given my solution, but now I would encourage that if you can come back to me tomorrow, maybe I give you 24 hours to 48 hours tomorrow or day after. Where do you think you see yourself as in terms of what all other solutions you can bring in, so that it shouldn't become a burden on you? It shouldn't become that you're not being forced to work on the skill set. Or is there any specific way to work on the skill set so that you feel confident in front of the stakeholder? Like, let's say we have a international delegates coming next month, and they are our global stakeholders, and I want you to take the responsibility of making them understand where the project is, where are in this phase, and before that, you have still 1 month to go. And how do you think you would want to prepare for that? So you stimulate their brain. You're not just giving them a solution to follow, rather, you're asking them to come back to me with other alternatives, other solutions, where the issue can be mitigated and we feel evolved, we feel confident. And I also, as a leader, would feel that, okay, my star performer is again back. So you give them the chance to solve that problem, the life problem they are facing. And though it's not that you just ask them that go back and come back to me with solutions. No, you've already given them some one or two solutions as a maybe as a buffet or as a platter. So you've already proposed that. And that's how you build trust. That's how you build that enablement with your team member who you want them to evolve in the process. And then if we've selected the third one, the delegate the short time deadline save, but you risk damaging trust with them, because ultimately they would feel that, oh, I am not good enough that they have given the task to some other person. And there are people, no, we are all from corporates, and we understand the paradoxical reality, the dark reality, or these days what's happening at times ground. So that's why, as I said, many organizations these days are changing the pattern of bringing this leadership program. Rather, they want their leaders to behave like a coach, not just as a leader. So this is one, and if you see the last line, it says that there is no single correct answer. But see, at times we have to take the difficult solution, but then we have to take a difficult. Our selection should be choice of going through either A, B, C, or we can blend it. We can blend it. Uh, I'm putting a pause here. If somebody is able to put across their opinions through chat or anywhere, you can always unmute, ask, or put it in the chat. Anywhere, I'm okay to answer your questions. Um, Otherwise, I'll ask. You can always towards the end of the session we can take this up if anybody is in the session, and then the kind of questions which we talk about is that powerful way of asking questions that uh, at times, and going back to the same scenario where the person is missing the deadlines, and you ask them that, okay, what was the biggest challenge you faced in meeting the deadline? What options do you see for preventing that next time? What support? So these kind of the questions you want them to work upon when they go back to find a solution, whether they would want to be confident, whether they do not want to surpass their deadlines or commitments, because there are people who directly go to the team member because they know that, okay, I am quite pally with them and quite I am being friends with them. We have shared a lot of things during our lunch times and we have worked together in multiple projects. So they feel that direct coaching sometimes is very much applicable, and they go as a leader, they say that, okay, why did you miss the deadline? They feel the person will open up. But I would suggest as a coach, the powerful questions should be more opening. As a coach, your question should be more where they will feel that you are taking interest, a genuine interest in them. Taking care of them. You're being very empathetic towards them, and you are clear about. You have a clarity that that they should share things with you, and that's why the powerful question, like maybe so that they can open more. Like, what was the biggest challenge you faced in meeting the deadline? What options do you see for preventing this issue the next time? What support would help you to deliver best work? Do you need my intervention? Do you need any other backup or any other alternative? Uh, if you are in full control, if you already are becoming a leader and your team member does not do things on time or probably commit as per the commitment or as per the SLA's agreement, how do you approach this? So again, anything you ask them, this will give them the chance. Then they go back for 24 hours or 48 hours. This will give them the chance to think at a deeper level. They will have a self reflection. And you never know that after 24 hours, you might be having a meeting with them and they'll be sharing their issues with you. That, I'm following these issues. This is maybe I am feeling little demotivated because of the appraisal, how the appraisal went, or probably I do not feel appreciated, or I did not feel appreciated last time when I was a part of the project, or maybe I have some issues with some internal team member. You never know when you have put them onto that asking these powerful questions, and they would feel this way because as a coach, your job is not to be somewhere. I would say your job is not to be submissive. Your job is not to be, when I say submissive, that whatever the person comes up with the problem and then you just listen to them for the sake of just listening, and you put them into some different task and you see that, okay, this person is not motivated. That is very submissive, that, okay, very passive approach. And then as a coach, you cannot even be aggressive. You cannot say that, okay, since you're missing the deadlines, you have been working from last so many years in the system, you're working in this organization for 6 years and 7 years, I know you, how can you do this? And you start raising your voice, and you start, because you know that they are your friends or probably you are pally to them. That approach, maybe you never know that how you shut down that person towards you, and then that's absolutely no. And then there is something called passive aggressive. There are leaders who just have a constructive discussion. They consider it as a constructive discussion. They start the conversation with this person telling them that they break the ice. They don't sound very raising their pitch or their decibel. But in the process of discussing, they start comparing them with other performers in the team. That, ABC person has joined after you, or probably this person was I was working with them in the last project, and now I've got a chance again working with them, and they are doing good, and they have never missed the deadline. They make sure. So, as somebody who has leading position, it's absolute no. to bring comparison on the table of this kind of a discussion, or maybe a very self-defense kind of a thing, that I have always completed the time, and bragging yourself for this. Or maybe that's very conveniently putting them into a spotlight, which will higher chances are that uh, putting them on blaming game. And these three approaches, at times leaders do it because they think they can, but make sure that when it comes to as a coach, the ideal approach is when we talk about assertive, that how you communicate. This is a very important point, that how you communicate to that team member as a leader, or as a leader being a coach who's empowering others. You need to be very, very much aware and mindful about that, what tone you are using, what words you are using, what vocabulary you are using, how polite you can be to that person while communicating, because you are following this constructive 5SO discussion format. But the communication, you you need to be very selective, very, very mindful about the words. But that does not mean, now when I always when I share this topic, people always say that, Manpreet, but what if I will say something as a coach and they will, there are times that people told me that, Manpreet, people started crying in that meeting room and the whole thing got backfired or backlash, and they were just too soft to hear these kind of discussions. Even if I was polite with them and my tone was absolutely completely professional. So then I tell them that, see, and then the next thing they say is that, Manpreet, as a leader, we don't think we should be talking like these to them, or we should be saying anything to them. Let that be. Maybe escapism is the best route. Um, and then I tell them, see, assertive means you have to assert your opinion. You cannot hide it. You cannot take a back seat. You cannot follow the route of escapism. You have to speak your mind. At times people misconstrued the whole concept of aggressive and assertive, because by definition, if we go by dictionary, both means that you are a confident speaker, um, or aggressive speaker. But when we say assertive, which means you need to tell them that, okay, how you are acknowledging the fact that what probably they are missing out on deadlines, or they are not confident in their presentations whatsoever. But this should not stop you to talk your mind or speak your mind. This should not stop you. So when we talk about these kind of situations as a coach, how they feel that you are approachable, how they feel that they can speak in front of you, how they feel that you share a strong relationship, how they feel that you are here to strengthen their skill sets, how they feel that you are helping them to take, or probably in solving the problem. The concept of assertiveness as a coach is that you start with respecting and acknowledging their viewpoint. Like, the approach is more of a collaboration. The coach's approach is more of a collaboration, where you tell them that, hey, I hear you, I respect your perspective, I understand what you might be going through. You need to be very clear what you are speaking. You need to sound very confident, professional, politeness, positivity. But you need to speak your mind, that this is what I want from you. These skill set I want you to work on. I do not want you to miss on deadlines. I do not want you to feel less confident in front of stakeholder. And I believe as a coach that let's work together on something where we can have a win-win situation, where I shouldn't feel that you are still on a back seat, and you shouldn't feel that, okay, I am intimidating you. So that's where the whole concept of coach as a communicator, as an assertive communicator, is that when you're having a constructive discussion with them, uh, you follow a 3A framework. Like, when you are discussing things with them, when you're trying to ice break with them, when you're trying to understand their perspective, when you're trying to give them that, okay, come back to me after 24 hours and give me a solution. In that whole approach, first A, second A, third A. Where the first A is more about where you listen, you throw a question, those powerful questions which we discussed. You throw those powerful questions, and then your job is to listen to them. You try to acknowledge their perspective. Do not interrupt. Empathize. Listen to them. And then put across your opinion that since you have discussed, we are going to work on this. And I can hear you. I can totally understand what you're trying to say. However, and I respect, maybe the person says that, see, I miss the deadlines because I don't have the bandwidth, or the person says that I do not know how to manage the time, or probably I do not have a support team working with me, or my cross-functional team does not give me the updates on time, or they say that maybe the delegation has not done right, or probably I am going through some personal reasons. There could be n number of genuine reasons also. So always go with the mindset that they may say something genuine. Now it is not the time to give them a solution. At times, what leaders think is that uh, probably I can give them a solution right away, they have to follow. Your job as a coach is listen to them, understand their perspectives, tell them. If you see the first column, tell them that, see, um, however, I totally get it. We'll work on this. We let's work on this. One of the things which I want is that since you have been working very closely in many multiple projects with me, and I have never seen you going through this missing this deadlines or timelines, or I have never, or probably I have seen you working very hard and burning your midnight oil. But uh, however, I really expect that as you will be also growing in the corporate ladder, I want you to particularly work on the skill set of time management or how to work on productivity. At the same time, I want you to feel confident in front of the stakeholders. You are not taking a back seat as a coach, you are speaking your mind that what you expect from them. With your expectations, you mention logical reason. Why I am saying so? Because in another few months, we are looking as a maybe appraisal is due, or maybe PDP sessions are due, or maybe we are seeking some new projects and where I can use your strengthening skill sets. And that's why I want that these things happen. So you give your expectation. You first you acknowledge, you give your expectation, and you give your logical reason that why you want what you want from them. And then the second thing you say is that, however, the second A is about alternative, where you heard them. It's not about giving the solution right away. It's about that you can give your opinion. As a coach, you don't force solution, you don't propel solution, but you give as a maybe a no, midway, maybe an alternative that since I can see that there is definitely a bandwidth issue, what if we'll sit in next few days? Maybe you can, we both can come little early in the morning, or probably we can log in. First thing is we need to discuss that how we can work in a certain way so that you at least somewhere you feel little productive, and some tasks I can give you backup, or maybe one as a one alternative you can give a midway that what if this works for you. However, this is not in, there is no hurriedness. Think about it. Take your 24 hours, take your 48 hours, come back to me that is there any specific other solution you would want to work on? Because according to me, this is what is on the top of my mind I can think of. This may not be a actual solution, but this could be a very temporary one. But this is what is on the top of my mind. Whatever you say, whatever you speak, you as a coach, you give reasons. You you need to make them feel very comfort, as in you give them a nudge. It's like a nudging, like you give them a very polite way of short steps. Nudging means bringing some change in their work style, but not giving a complete force. think. So you give one alternative and still give them the chance. And then before they leave for those discussions, you tell them, bring that awareness in front of the table, in front of them, that uh, if we won't work on these things, if we will not work on your time management skill sets or your productivity, or not, you shouldn't miss some timeline. If we won't work, and you always use the word if we won't work on it, then there could be higher chances that there could be a lot of repercussions, whether the project will go in jeopardy, or whether the client will be, then client will be rude to us, or the stakeholders will not feel happy, and then it will be very difficult for me to save you for the next project. Usually, people take the opposite approach. I have heard leaders start with third A. They start talking about consequences or petrifying the other person directly. As a coach, it should be the last point. That's also a difference between a leader and a coach. That when you go as a coach in front of them, you do not start petrifying or threatening them with consequences or potential risk right away. You do not throw the truth bomb. You do not attack them directly. You start with acknowledging their perspective, listen to them, empathize, giving your perspective that this is what I expect from you. Why? This is my reason. This is what is on the back of my mind as a solution. But I'm giving you few, maybe if you have a bandwidth to give them 24 hours, give them. If you don't have, tell them that you have next few hours. Think on it, that what other solutions we can work on. So that also includes, sorry, that also includes the methodology of 5 SOs, and this is how you communicate in a very collaborative, assertive approach, right? Uh, so yeah, this the first one we did was that what was the basic difference between the leader and a coach. Leader is more about TSD, and coach is more about empowerment with 5 SO, and how to communicate in an assertive way, and how to have a constructive discussion with them. And then, as I said, there is another approach which we follow, is something called like, if I take up a situation where you are a leader and have a competent team member, and this is a very common situation these days I'm encountering in my training sessions when I take longer leadership programs and coach programs. People come to me and they say that, Manpreet, we have projects which is based on technical and non-technical. As a leader, maybe the hiring is done for technical or the hiring is done for non-technical, but when the project we have to work upon, it may require absolutely different skill set. Maybe if we hired for some technical work, this project demands more non-technical skill set. If we have hired them for non-technical, and this project demands more technical. And then when we go to, when the people we are working with, and when we tell them that, see, we need your both the skill sets, and they show resistance. They show, oh, we are being hired for this particular and we will work on this only. So that's where, as a coach, you need to again have an intervention here, where now, where you need to tell them that, okay, you need to make them visualize the future through why I want you to work on a particular domain. Even if this project was hiring was done for non-tech and the tech thing come, we are ready to give you, the organization is ready to give you extensive training, and we have a 1 week training going on, whether it's a tech, or we need your soft skills part and you are completely tech person, and we need maybe a bit of a decision making skills here, or a bit of a leadership quality here, or a problem solving skill here. So you'll be getting a training, whether internally or whether you hire external intervention. But you tell them, again, coming with an assertive approach, you tell them, and then there is something called, you make them visualize the future through the GROW model, the GROW, where what do we want to achieve by this? If I put you into a certain particular skill set, what is happening now? Why I need you? Why this project demands this? Which is reality. You talk about reality. You talk about goal. You talk about again, that what ideas or what are the ways. Again, you tell them that, take your time and tell me what we can commit, how I can help you as a coach, how I can support you, how I can put you into buddy and mentee kind of a situation. but then full support from my side. And how you make them learn and you visualize them that why I need this. So there is a real time scenario where this happened in 2000, I guess 15, 16, where I trained one of the persons who was joining a corporate world at that time. Very new. I took a campus to corporate program, and then after 2 years, this person pinged me on LinkedIn, and this person said that, Manpreet ma'am, I want to talk to you about that how my manager is, or my leader, somebody I report to, is putting me in a different project, which I think I'm not confident. I think I may not be very justified, and I may not justify my skill set, and then I'm feeling very jittery. That's where we had a good 1 hour discussion before that person went back to their leader, and we had a like. Then at that time, I was playing the role of their coach. That okay, probably I asked questions, powerful questions, and I helped. That where you think this whole new project will fit you up to? Why do you think your leader is putting you in? What skill sets they want? What strengthening points they have seen? And he said that Manpreet, I have not asked. I said, then tomorrow probably ask them. So that's your job as a coach. That when you put people into different skill set roles or different projects, so always give them a better understanding that why I need this, where I would like to see you, what is my goal as a coach to see you, as a leader with coach see you. Where are we in the project? Why we are putting you into it? Establish that reality. Tell them the reality about their strengths, about this project goal, about how it can help them and give them a benefit in the future. Or probably next 2 years, this company is looking forward to have major projects, and where if I will put you into the smaller project, and you will be definitely be motivated and work on that where we need. So give them again solutions and ask them to come back, and then how this will establish that will with them. So this is what we call as a Grove model, where it's again an acronym. So I come up with a lot of framework and acronym, though it's just a 1 hour webinar. But when we talk about these frameworks and discussions, when it's a whole program and training, it's a 8 hour training, 16 hour. I make you all put into practice. Like we do role plays, we do discussions, we do a lot of brain stimulation exercises and activities, so that people will integrate these frameworks there then in the session. So it's more like a experiential learning kind of a training that happens at that time. But because this was more of a webinar setup, so I thought at least let me give you a direction, or let me make you aware that these kind of frameworks are there in the market. Grow is very popular one, which we generally use in these kind of scenarios, that when the person shows quite resistance towards change, or probably they don't want to do their work um, because they think that they have been hired for a specific skill set. And these things are quite common these days, which leaders are facing, and then they have to behave like a coach. Um, or be it more like this 3A you won't find anywhere. This I have created after my extensive experience with a lot of IT, telecom, architectural, manufacturing, and BFSI companies. So I thought that this is the best way as a coach. So I put this as an exclusive. Yeah, but then where you need to work as a collaborator, and where you need to see how you communicate to your team members. So that's where this intervention of 3A assertive communication is required. And I'm quite doing a recap, and then probably harmful asking questions, and not just putting them on a hot seat, but rather asking them powerful questions, and then the first 5 years. So I would expect if somebody who is listening, and this was all about what I could put in this small this in this 1 hour session, that at least I can make you aware about these concepts. And whenever we get a chance to maybe have an experiential learning training base, we'll definitely I'll integrate these frameworks in a certain way so that you get to practice. But for now, what I would expect is take a screenshot of this slide, so that you should be knowing which choice you would want to make as a leader when you work as a empowering others. And sorry, these powerful questions, how you can ask. As an example, I have put in. And then there are some, I'm skipping some slides. Why? Because that is not required. I have already shared as a my speech. Um, and then this is what you need to choose, that which one you think as a coach you want to speak. And you can take a screenshot of this, and you can take a screenshot of this 3A. I better have a copyright of this because anyone who comes from my training, they have to go through this 3A framework. And people keep coming back to me on LinkedIn, or they call me and they say, this is working. Um, Also, I suggest if anybody is interested to follow me on LinkedIn, because I have good almost 11,000 followers there. I keep on uploading a lot of skill based videos and soft skills based, I would say, articles, business articles, and good traction there. So you can always follow me there. And if you feel anywhere stuck related to this topic, or any topic which is related to soft skills and behavioral skills, so I'm qualified to help you on that, in that capacity, because I'm a certified trainer. And I've missed out on discussing my introduction. So yeah, so I'm a certified trainer, 18 years into training industry, corporates, dealing with IT, telecom, and lot of companies I work with as a L&D consultant, learning and development consultant. So I think you can follow me. LinkedIn, my profile is with the same spelling, what you see, Manpry. So find me there with the same spelling. I'm the only one with this spelling. I'm the first. Any one profile you will get it, that's mine. The spelling is Manpryt. And then coming back to the third framework, we covered GROW, GROW. So that's how we covered. Yeah. From my side, this is all. And thank you all for joining in. I hope I could be of help in any capacity with this topic. And yeah, over to you, Patel.
Hey, thank you, Manpreet, for taking time out from a busy schedule,
Thank
and sharing your knowledge. And I'm sure, so
you.
I hope all the participants who had joined in or who will see this session on a YouTube page, they get valuable insights and practical techniques, to apply in their day-to-day, on their daily leadership interactions, right? So one thing to all the participants is that, remember that coaching is not a one-time event, but a continuous practice that builds trust, encourages growth, and strengthens team performance.
Yeah,
So I hope we all take these learnings forward and make a real difference in how we lead. So I thank you once again, Manpreet, for
thank you.
an insightful session. So hope to do more such sessions in the near future, and I hope the people who tuned in also had a great learning experience from this session. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Manpreet. Good.
Thank you, Patel, for your support. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Yeah, have a great evening ahead and a long weekend, blissful weekend ahead. So long weekend. So thank you.
Mhm.
All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Good day, everyone.
yeah.
Bye.
Bye.